doing? I'm teacher Cindy. I work at CEL. Welcome to our Module 5 Class 9. Today, I'm going to talk about quantities of food. The question is, what do you have in your refrigerator? I will answer this question. In my refrigerator, there is a dozen eggs. There is a carton of milk. There are a few apples. There is a bottle of orange juice. There is a pear, etc. Okay, here we can see some new vocabulary. Carton, barrel, they are food containers. What is a container? A container is an object such as a box or a barrel that can be used for holding something. Let's start. Here we can see some barrels, some cans, and a jar. A carton. A carton is a container made from cardboard or plastic in which milk or fruit juice, etc. is sold. A carton of milk. A box. A box is a square or rectangular container with stiff sides and sometimes a lid. A box of cereal. A bag. A bag is a soft container made out of paper or thin plastic. A bag of potato chips. A packet. What is a packet? A set of things wrapped or boxed together. A packet of cookies. A barrel. A barrel is a container for liquids, usually made of glass or plastic. A bottle of ketchup. A jar. A wide-mouthed cylindrical container made of glass or pottery and typically having a lid. In singular, a jar. In plural, jars. In this picture, we can see 2 jars of olives. A can. A can is a closed metal container, especially cylinder-shaped. A can of soup. A can of soda. We can see 2 cans. Now, let's talk about weights and measures. A liter of, a quart of. Pay attention. 1 liter is equal to 1.1 quarts. A kilo of, a pound of. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. A loaf of bread. In singular, a loaf of. In plural, loaves of. We can see 3 loaves of bread. Now, let's review. Let's review countable and uncountable nouns. Countable, they can be singular or plural. An apple, some apples. Uncountable, they are always singular. Coffee, milk, money, pasta. Okay, here we can see more examples. Now, let's talk about quantities of food. Small amounts of food. We are going to use uncountable nouns. Remember, uncountable nouns are used in singular. A little is equal to some. In this picture, we can see a large amount of food, a lot of food. In this picture, we can see a small amount of food, a little food. The frog ate a little food. A little plus uncountable noun. Very little is equal to not a lot. Not a lot is equal to almost none. None, almost none. Very little plus uncountable noun. It can have positive or negative meaning. Let's see the positive meaning. Very little plus things that are not necessary. Example, I drank very little coffee. Very little plus uncountable noun. The speaker didn't want to drink a lot of coffee. It's not a problem. It was not necessary or important. That's why this sentence has positive meaning. Let's see the negative meaning. Very little plus things that are important or necessary. Example, I have very little money and I need to pay my bills. Very little plus uncountable noun. The speaker can't pay the bills. Here we have a problem because paying the bills is important, is necessary. That's why this sentence has negative meaning. Less compares quantities with uncountable nouns. Example, I'm trying to eat less sugar than I ate before. Less plus uncountable noun. I ate a lot of sugar before. Now, I'm trying to eat less sugar. So, we have a comparison between before and after. I love sugar. Not much before uncountable nouns. In the first picture, we have a large amount of soup. In the second picture, we have a small amount of soup. There's not much soup in the second place. Not much plus uncountable. Uncountable noun. Now, let's talk about quantities of food, small numbers. But now we are going to use countable nouns. The first example, a few is equal to some. We have a few slices of cheese. Pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4 slices of cheese. A few plus countable noun. Remember, students, that countable nouns are always singular or plural. I'm sorry. Countable nouns can be used in singular or in plural. Very few is equal to not a lot. Not a lot. Pay attention. Almost none. Remember, none, almost none. Very few plus countable noun. In the first picture, we have, let me see, let's count. We have 12, 13, 16 people. In the second picture, we have 2 loaves of bread. Negative meaning, very few plus necessities or important things. So here, the sentence has a negative meaning. Why? Because, pay attention, there are many people and very few loaves of bread, okay? Very few plus countable noun. Fewer compares quantities with countable nouns. Fewer is equal to less. Fewer is used with countable nouns and less is used with uncountable nouns. Example, here we have John and Laura. They love apples, but John eats fewer apples than Laura. Fewer plus countable noun. Now we have not many. We use not many before countable nouns. There aren't many carrots. Many plus countable noun. Okay, time to practice. Remember, practice makes perfect. Exercise 1. Observe the pictures and write the words in the correct place. The words are a dozen, a bottle of, a jar of, a carton of, a loaf of, a can of. Letter A, think about it. Let's check. A bottle of water. Letter B, time to think. Let's check. A loaf of bread. Letter C, think. Let's check. A can of soup. Letter D, time to think. Let's check. A quart of milk. Letter E, pickled cabbage. Think about it. Let's check. A jar of pickled cabbage. Letter F, think about it. Let's check. A dozen eggs. Okay, now exercise 2. Check the correct alternative. Letter A, we have 2 options, fewer or less. Think about countable and uncountable nouns. Time to think. Let's check. I'm trying to eat less chocolate than I ate before. Chocolate is an uncountable noun. B, a little or a few. Think about it. Let's check. Charles drank a little water. Water is uncountable. Letter C, very little or very few. Time to think. Let's check. Dad ate very few apples. Apples, countable. Letter D, very little or very few. Think about it. Let's check. I drank very little juice. Juice is uncountable. Okay, now students, it's time to speak in Portuguese. Hora de falar em português para divulgar as nossas redes sociais. O nosso Instagram, @cel.acre, sigam-nos e curtam a nossa página no Facebook, CelNel. E o mais importante, acessem a nossa plataforma Educ, www.educ.ce.ac.gov.br. Enjoy your studies. Goodbye.